Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why a woman never forgets her first love? You see, love is not just an emotion, it is a divine principle established by God Himself. Love has the power to transform, to shape, and to define who we are. And when a woman experiences love for the first time, it is not just a fleeting moment, it becomes an imprint on her soul. I want to take you on a journey today. A journey of understanding, wisdom, and revelation. Because when we understand the nature of love, we stop living in regret and start walking in purpose. Some facts that women never forget her first love. You need to understand. Stay connected with me. Have you ever wondered why a woman never forgets her first love? It is because love is not just a feeling, it is an experience that marks the soul. The first time a woman loves, she does not just engage in a relationship. She steps into a realm of deep emotional investment. This is not something that happens on the surface. It is something that happens in the depths of her heart, where memories are not just recorded but engraved. When God designed the human experience, He placed within us the ability to remember the things that shape us the most. And there is no experience more powerful than love. Love has the ability to touch the deepest part of the human soul, to awaken emotions that were previously dormant, and to introduce a person to a side of themselves they never knew existed. This is why a woman never forgets her first love. Because it was not just an event, it was a transformation. A woman's first love is the first time she learns the language of emotional connection. Before that moment, she may have experienced affection from family, kindness from friends, or even admiration from others. But when love enters her heart for the first time, it is an entirely different reality. It is no longer about what she receives, but about what she gives. She opens herself, becomes vulnerable, and begins to see someone else as a part of her own world. And once the heart is opened at that level, it can never fully return to the way it was before. The power of first love is in its originality. It is the first time she entrusts her emotions to another person, the first time she allows someone to enter the sacred space of her heart. And what makes it unforgettable is that it is unfiltered, uncalculated, and uninfluenced by past experiences. It is the purest expression of love because it is not shaped by comparison or conditioned by disappointment. This is why the first love carries a weight that no other relationship can replicate. It is not necessarily about the person she loved, but about the version of herself that existed in that moment. Memory is strongest when it is tied to emotion, and there is no emotion more powerful than love. The human brain is designed to prioritize memories that carry strong emotional significance. That is why people forget what they studied for an exam, but remember the words spoken in a moment of deep pain or joy. The first love is burned into the heart not just because it happened, but because it awakened something inside her that had never been awakened before. The first love is also the first lesson in trust. It is the first time she places her heart in someone else's hands, hoping that they will handle it with care. And whether that love ended in joy or in heartbreak, the lesson remains. If it was beautiful, it becomes a standard. If it was painful, it becomes a warning. But either way, it leaves a permanent imprint. That is why a woman never forgets her first love. Because it was not just about who she loved, but about who she became when she loved. Another reason the first love is so unforgettable is that it represents a time of innocence. It is love before disappointment, before betrayal, before the weight of experience reshapes expectations. It is the first and only time she will love without walls, without hesitation, without fear. Every love after that will be measured against the memory of what it felt like to love for the first time. Even if she moves on, even if she builds new relationships, the echo of that first experience will always be present in some way. This is why many women, even years later, find themselves thinking about their first love. It is not necessarily about longing for the person, but about remembering what it felt like to be in that space of pure, unguarded affection. Sometimes it is nostalgia, sometimes it is a lesson, sometimes it is a reminder of how much they have grown, but it is never forgotten, because love is not an event. It is an imprint on the soul. This is why wisdom is so important, because while the first love is unforgettable, it should never become a prison. It is meant to be a teacher, not a limitation. Some women allow the memory of their first love to dictate their future, holding on to it as though no greater love can exist. But love is not something that stays in the past. It is something that grows and evolves. The purpose of remembering is not to live in what was, but to learn from it and move toward what can be. A woman never forgets her first love because it was her introduction to the deepest part of herself. It was the first time she realized the capacity of her own heart, the depth of her emotions, and the beauty of true connection. That memory stays with her because it was not just about him, it was about her. About the part of her that learned to love, to trust, to hope. And no matter where life takes her, that first love remains a chapter in her story, not to define her, but to remind her of the power of love itself. A woman's heart is one of the most powerful and intricate aspects of creation. It was designed with the capacity to nurture, to build, to sustain, and to protect. It carries within it the ability to feel deeply, to connect meaningfully, and to remember eternally. When a woman loves, she does not love from her mind alone. She loves from the deepest core of her being. This is why her experiences with love are not fleeting moments, but defining moments. They shape her, mold her, and leave lasting imprints on her soul. The first love experience is not just an emotional encounter. It is an imprint on the heart. Unlike men who are often moved by sight and logic, a woman's love is rooted in her emotions, in her spirit, and in her ability to attach herself to something that gives her a sense of belonging. It is not about the person she loved, but about the emotions that were unlocked in that moment. Love is an experience that introduces a woman to a new dimension of her own existence. A woman does not just love with her mind, she loves with her heart, her emotions, and her very soul. This is why her first love is not easily erased. It is not about choice. It is about design. She is built to connect, to attach, and to hold on to the things that have shaped her emotionally. The emotions she felt in that first love become a reference point for future experiences. They set a precedent. They become the measuring stick by which all other relationships are evaluated. When a woman gives her heart for the first time, she is not simply engaging in an emotional exchange, she is forming an attachment. An attachment is not something that can be switched off like a light. It is a bond, an imprint, a seal that connects the heart to a memory, a moment, or a person. Even when the relationship ends, the experience remains. The memory remains. The emotions remain. The way a woman is designed allows her to create deep emotional connections that are not easily broken. When she loves, she is investing not just in the present, but in the future. She is not just sharing moments, she is sharing herself. Her love is an expression of her identity, her values, and her deepest desires. This is why the first love is so powerful. It is the first time she has ever entrusted these sacred parts of herself to someone else. Even when time passes, even when new relationships come, the imprint of that first love remains. It is not that she is holding on to the person, it is that she is holding on to the emotions, the feeling of being in love for the first time. She remembers what it felt like to be seen, to be valued, to be admired. She remembers the excitement, the anticipation, the joy of experiencing something new. And even if that love ended in disappointment, the emotional impact of that first experience does not simply fade away. The way a woman processes love is different from a man. She does not just remember events. She remembers how those events made her feel. She does not just recall words. She recalls the emotions those words stirred within her. This is why a woman can hear a song, see a place, or smell a familiar scent, and instantly be transported back to a moment in time. Her love is not just an intellectual experience, it is an emotional and spiritual journey. When she falls in love for the first time, she is not just opening her heart, she is opening her spirit. She is giving a part of herself that she has never given before. And what makes the first love unforgettable is that it carries an innocence that no other love will ever have. It is love before pain, before disappointment, before wisdom is gained through experience. It is love in its rawest, most unguarded form. Even after life has moved on, even after she has matured and grown, there will always be a part of her that remembers the way she felt in that moment. It is not about wanting to return to the past. It is about recognizing that love leaves a mark that time cannot erase. It is about understanding that the heart has a memory, and that memory is tied to the emotions that were first awakened. This is why wisdom is important, because while the first love is unforgettable, it is not irreplaceable. A woman must understand that while her emotions are real, they should never hold her hostage to the past. Love is meant to be experienced, but it is also meant to be understood. What happened in the past was a lesson, a foundation, a chapter in a greater story. It was never meant to define the rest of her journey. It was meant to prepare her for the love that is still ahead. A woman never forgets her first love because it was the first time she encountered herself in a new way. It was the first time she realized the depth of her own emotions, the capacity of her own heart, and the beauty of true connection. That experience stays with her because it was not just about the other person, it was about her own transformation. And no matter where life takes her, that first love remains a reference point, not to keep her in the past, but to remind her of the power of love itself. Love is one of the most powerful forces on earth. It is the foundation of relationships, the essence of connection, and the deepest longing of the human soul. When a woman falls in love for the first time, something profound happens inside her, something that cannot be easily erased. The first love is not just an experience, it is a seed, and like any seed, it has the power to grow, to shape and to influence everything that follows. A seed carries within it the potential for something greater. It may start small, but once it is planted, it begins to take root. Love works the same way. The first time a woman gives her heart, she is sowing a seed into her emotional and spiritual soil. That seed carries the memory of what love felt like, how it changed her, and how it shaped her understanding of relationships. This is why the first love is not easily forgotten. It is the first planting of an emotional reality that continues to grow, even if the relationship itself does not. The power of a seed is not in its size, but in what it produces. A single seed has the potential to grow into a great tree, to produce fruit, to create a harvest. The same is true for love. The first time a woman experiences deep affection, it sets a precedent for how she will see love in the future. That first love plants expectations, dreams, hopes, and sometimes even fears. It teaches her what love can be, what love should be, and sometimes what love should not be. But whether it was a good experience or a painful one, the seed of that love remains in the soil of her heart. A seed does not disappear after it is planted. It either grows or it withers. Some women spend years trying to forget their first love, thinking that time will erase the memory. But time does not erase what was planted. It only determines how that seed will grow. If the first love was filled with joy, that seed may grow into a longing for something similar. If the first love ended in heartbreak, that seed may grow into a fear of trusting again. This is why the first love is so powerful. It is not just a past event. It is a living imprint on the heart that continues to influence the future. The way a seed is nurtured determines its outcome. A woman who understands this truth will not allow her first love to control her, but rather to teach her. If the first love was painful, she must learn from it rather than be bound by it. If the first love was beautiful, she must appreciate it without allowing it to become a limitation. Because the purpose of a seed is not to remain buried, it is to grow into something greater. The nature of a seed is that it produces after its own kind. A woman who had a beautiful first love will often seek to recreate that same feeling in future relationships. She will compare, she will reflect, and she will measure her future experiences against the standard of her past. If the first love was painful, she may build walls around her heart, afraid of being hurt again. This is why the first love is so significant. It does not just stay in the past. It becomes a reference point for the future. A seed does not produce fruit overnight. It takes time for it to grow, to mature, and to bear fruit. The same is true for love. Many women, after experiencing their first love, expect every relationship afterward to feel the same. But love, like a seed, requires time, patience, and wisdom to fully develop. What was planted in the beginning was only the start. It was never meant to be the final destination. Some seeds fall on good soil and produce a great harvest. Others fall on rocky ground and struggle to survive. In the same way, a woman's first love may have been planted in a healthy environment, leading to fond memories and lessons learned. Or it may have been planted in a painful situation, causing wounds that take years to heal. But regardless of where it was planted, the truth remains that first love was a seed, and it carries within it the power to shape the future. Understanding this truth is the key to emotional freedom. When a woman realizes that her first love was never meant to define her, but to teach her, she gains the power to take control of her future. She no longer allows that seed to dictate her emotions, her choices, or her expectations. Instead, she uses it as a lesson, a foundation, and a stepping stone toward a greater understanding of love. A seed carries potential, but it is the gardener who determines its growth. Love is the same way. The first experience with love plants something deep inside a woman's heart, but it is her responsibility to decide what she will do with it. She can choose to let it grow into wisdom, or she can allow it to become a prison. She can choose to use it as a foundation, or she can let it keep her stuck in the past. The power is in her hands. Love is not just an emotion. It is an experience that imprints itself on the soul. When a woman falls in love for the first time, she does not simply engage in a relationship. She enters into a new realm of emotional discovery. It is the first time she fully opens her heart, the first time she allows herself to be seen in a way she has never been seen before. And because of this, the first love becomes more than just a memory. It becomes a defining moment in her life. What makes the first love so unforgettable is that it introduces her to the power of vulnerability. Before love, she may have experienced affection, care, and admiration, but first love is different. It is the first time she willingly lowers her defenses, the first time she gives herself permission to trust another person with the deepest parts of her heart. Vulnerability is the essence of true love, and once a woman has experienced it, she can never go back to not knowing what it feels like. Love has a way of opening the heart in ways nothing else can. It has the power to make a person feel seen, valued, and understood. The first time a woman experiences this, it marks her deeply. She learns what it means to care for someone beyond herself. She experiences the joy of being chosen, the thrill of being pursued, and the warmth of knowing that someone else sees her as special. And even if that love does not last, the emotions it awakened within her do not simply disappear. Emotional connection is one of the most powerful forces in the human experience. The first love is not just about attraction or companionship. It is about connection at a level she has never known before. It is the first time she feels truly intertwined with another person. The first time she sees someone not just as an acquaintance, but as a part of her own journey. And because she has never felt this way before, the experience becomes deeply embedded in her heart. The human mind is designed to remember what moves us the most. People forget ordinary days, routine conversations, and trivial details, but they remember the moments that stirred their hearts, that changed their perspective, that made them feel something they had never felt before. This is why the first love remains so vivid in a woman's memory. It is the first time she encountered emotions so deep, so consuming, so real. Love introduces a woman to a new version of herself. It reveals sides of her that she may not have known existed. She discovers how deeply she can care, how much she is willing to sacrifice, how far she is willing to go for someone she loves. The first love teaches her what she is capable of emotionally, and that realization stays with her forever. She does not just remember the person she loved, she remembers the person she became when she loved. Even when life moves forward, even when years pass, the memory of the first love lingers because it represents a pivotal transformation. It was the first time she truly let someone in, the first time she gave herself permission to dream of a future with another person, the first time she felt what it meant to belong, to be cherished, to be understood. And because it was the first, there is nothing to compare it to, no previous experience to dilute its impact, no past disappointments to overshadow its purity. This is why the first love remains in a category of its own. It is not necessarily the greatest love, nor the most lasting love, but it is the first encounter with something so powerful, so life-altering, that it leaves a mark that time cannot erase. It is an awakening, a discovery, a moment when love ceases to be an idea and becomes a lived reality. Love is a teacher. Every experience of love carries lessons, some joyful, some painful, but all significant. The first love is the first lesson, and first lessons are always the most impactful. They shape how a woman views relationships, how she approaches love in the future, how she defines what love means to her. Even if the relationship ends, the impact of what she learned remains. The heart has a memory, and the first love is imprinted in that memory not just because of the person, but because of the experience itself. It is not something that can be undone, not something that can be erased, because it was the foundation upon which her understanding of love was built. And that foundation, once laid, becomes a permanent part of her story. Love is not just an event. It is an experience that creates a deep emotional and spiritual imprint. When a woman falls in love for the first time, something profound happens within her. It is not just about the person she loves. It is about the emotions that are awakened, the new world she steps into, and the way her heart learns to connect in a way it never has before. The first love is powerful because it is the first time she experiences the joy of giving herself completely, the first time she allows someone into the sacred space of her heart. And because it is the first, it carries a weight and significance that no other love can fully replace. Emotions are like water. They take the shape of whatever container they are poured into. Before a woman experiences love, her heart is a vast reservoir waiting to be filled. She may have imagined love, dreamed about it, or seen it in others, but it is not until she experiences it herself that she truly understands its depth, and when she does, those emotions flood into her heart, taking a shape that is unique to that particular love. This is why the first love is unforgettable. It is the first time she feels emotions so pure, so consuming, so deeply personal. Love has the ability to create a sense of home. It gives a woman the feeling of belonging, of being chosen, of being cherished in a way that is different from any other relationship in her life. The first love introduces her to this reality for the first time. She learns what it means to be deeply valued, to have someone who prioritizes her, to feel the warmth of being in another's thoughts and plans. This feeling of being emotionally at home stays with her, even long after the relationship ends. It is not just about the person. It is about the feeling of connection, the sense of security, the emotional fulfillment that she tasted for the very first time. A woman's heart is designed to attach. She is built with the capacity to nurture, to build, to protect, and to sustain relationships. When she loves for the first time, she forms a deep emotional bond, a connection that is not easily broken. This is why a woman does not simply move on from her first love as if nothing happened. Even if the relationship ends, even if she finds love again, there will always be a part of her that remembers how it felt to be in love for the first time. That experience is stored in the deepest part of her emotions, shaping the way she sees love for the rest of her life. Love is more than an emotion. It is a transformation. The first love changes a woman. It teaches her what it means to care deeply, to hope, to dream, to believe in the possibility of forever. It introduces her to a new dimension of herself, revealing parts of her heart she never knew existed. She learns how much she is capable of giving, how much she desires to be understood, and how much love has the power to elevate her soul. And because it is her first experience of this transformation, it leaves an imprint that time does not erase. The human heart is designed to remember what impacts it the most. People forget routine days, forget faces of strangers, forget words that carried no meaning, but they never forget the moments that changed them. The first love is one of those moments. It is a defining experience, one that shifts the way a woman sees herself and the world around her. She carries that experience with her, not because she is unwilling to let go, but because it has become a part of who she is. Even as life moves forward, even as new relationships come, the first love remains a reference point. It is the first emotional blueprint, the first standard by which all future love is measured. A woman may not want to return to that love, but she will always recognize its significance. She remembers it not just because of the person she loved, but because of the way it made her feel, the way it introduced her to a new version of herself. The first love is like the first sunrise. It is the first time light breaks into a place that was once in darkness. It is the first time the warmth of love is felt, the first time the beauty of deep connection is seen. And just like the memory of that first sunrise never fades, the memory of that first love never disappears. It remains in the heart, not as a limitation, but as a reminder of the beauty and power of love itself. Love is a force that imprints itself on the soul. It is not just a feeling, not just an emotion. It is an experience that transforms a person from the inside out. The first love is not easily forgotten because it is the first encounter with something so powerful that it leaves an everlasting mark. When a woman loves for the first time, she steps into an entirely new emotional reality, one that she has never navigated before. It is like stepping into a world where everything feels deeper, more intense, more meaningful. And because it is her first time encountering love in this way, the experience is permanently etched into her heart. Memories are not just stored in the mind, they are stored in emotions. The human heart does not remember based on logic, it remembers based on impact. The moments that move us, the experiences that change us, the emotions that define us, these are the things that stay with us. A woman's first love is not simply a relationship that happened in her past. It is a defining emotional experience. It is the first time her heart was truly engaged, the first time she felt deeply connected to another person, the first time she allowed herself to believe in something greater than herself. And because it was her first, it becomes a permanent part of her emotional foundation. Love is an investment. When a woman gives her heart, she is not just offering affection. She is giving a piece of herself. She pours her emotions, her time, her energy, her dreams into that relationship. And the first time she does this, she does it without hesitation, without fear, without the weight of past disappointments. She loves with innocence, with purity, with the fullness of her being. That kind of love is not easily forgotten because it was the first time she was willing to give of herself so completely. It is not just about the person she loved. It is about the version of herself that she became in that relationship. Love is a journey of discovery. When a woman falls in love for the first time, she learns things about herself that she never knew before. She discovers how deeply she can feel, how much she is capable of giving, how strong her emotions can be. She learns what it means to trust, to dream, to hope. She experiences the beauty of companionship, the joy of being chosen, the warmth of knowing she is special to someone else. And even if that love does not last, the things she learned in that season of her life never leave her. The first love is a teacher, and its lessons remain with her long after the relationship ends. The first love shapes expectations, whether it was beautiful or painful, whether it lasted or ended. It sets a precedent for how a woman sees love in the future. If her first love was filled with kindness and joy, she will carry that expectation into future relationships. If her first love ended in heartbreak, she may build walls around her heart to protect herself from being hurt again. Either way, the experience leaves a mark. It influences her perspective, her choices, her desires. She may not consciously think about it every day, but it is there, woven into the fabric of her emotions, subtly shaping the way she approaches love for the rest of her life. Time does not erase deep emotional experiences, it only changes how they are carried. A woman may move forward, she may grow, she may love again, but the first love remains a part of her story. It is not about holding on to the past. It is about recognizing that some experiences are so profound that they become a part of who we are. The first love is a part of her emotional DNA, something that shaped her, something that introduced her to a depth of feeling she had never known before. Love is a seed that once planted continues to grow in different ways. The first time a woman loves, she plants a seed in the garden of her heart. That seed may grow into fond memories, it may grow into wisdom, it may grow into a deeper understanding of herself, but it does not disappear. It remains, not as a limitation, but as a part of her journey. And no matter where life takes her, no matter how many years pass, no matter how many new experiences she has, she will always carry the imprint of that first love in the depths of her soul. Love is one of the most powerful forces in the human experience. It is not just an emotion, it is an imprint, a transformation, a journey that leaves a lasting mark on the soul. The first love is unforgettable because it is the first time a woman truly opens her heart, the first time she allows herself to be vulnerable, the first time she experiences the depth of connection that love brings. It is the moment she learns what it means to give of herself completely, to invest her emotions, to trust, to dream, and to hope. Even if the relationship does not last, even if life moves forward and new love comes, the impact of the first love remains. It is not about the person alone. It is about the experience, the emotions, the lessons learned, and the way it shaped her understanding of love. A woman does not simply forget her first love because it was more than just a relationship. It was a defining moment in her emotional journey, a moment that introduced her to a new dimension of herself. The human heart is designed to remember what moves it the most, and love has a way of leaving a permanent imprint. It is not something that can be erased, not something that can be undone. But that is not a limitation, it is a testament to the power of love itself. The first love is a part of her story, a chapter that will always be significant, a moment that played a role in shaping who she is. And though life continues, though new love and new experiences come, she carries with her the memory of the first time she ever truly loved, the first time she ever truly felt, the first time she ever truly belonged. That is why the first love is never forgotten, because it was never meant to be.